AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine. Your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You sir. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Shea Dixon in 15 minutes on an absolutely crazy week to talk Cruton. We'll head up to Omaha in about an hour and 15 minutes, get some preview and perspective on the College World Series. The field is, of course, now set. Chase Young was on a podcast, talked about his upcoming season with the Saints. And, of course, we will get to a lot of reaction around college football, around the Brendan Sorsby situation. But let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
College World Series is set. LSU, as we know, is not there. And we all hope that the advantage for the Tigers not being in the College World Series, if there maybe is such a thing, is the fact that Jay Johnson now doesn't have to go coach all the way through the end of June, and they can just focus on recruiting this transfer portal and getting the roster back to what it needs to be to get LSU back to Omaha. Well, what happened Monday night was not super awesome. If you missed the news, Brody Trosclair, the lefty from Northwestern State, yes, the one in Natchitoches, Louisiana, he's going to Tennessee. This is, look, in a different era. In a different era, Brody Trosclair is pitching at LSU next year 100 times out of 100. This is a kid from Thibodaux who went to Northwestern State. He's a lefty who becomes the Southland's freshman of the year in the conference. Had a 1.89 ERA across 38 innings. And instead of LSU, he's going to Tennessee because he went to the highest bidder. And when he visited LSU last week, we talked about it on this show, and I was told in no uncertain terms, LSU is not getting a hometown discount. He is going to the highest bidder, and that was Tennessee. By the way, I was told Florida was second. LSU was third. The built-in advantage that LSU baseball has had for basically the last 3 decades is no more in this era. Brody Trosclair, Baseball America ranks him as the 4th best player in the portal. Not 4th best pitcher, 4th best player in the portal. On 3 ranks him 15th. Okay? He's a lefty. Mentioned he was the Southland's freshman of the year. He had an elbow injury, so he's coming off of that. He did not have Tommy John. He had the sleeve procedure. They expect to be back in February, March, be ready to roll. But it's a double whammy because not only is he not going to LSU, he's staying in the SEC, so you might have to face him. We don't know what LSU's schedule next year is going to be, but if Tennessee's on it, you're going to have to face a kid from Thibodaux who you wanted on your team who instead is going to be pitching for Tennessee. And again, LSU is 3rd. Tennessee, Florida, then LSU. And this is the new reality for LSU baseball. And a lot of blue bloods historically in college football are dealing with this in this era as well. The built-in advantage that you've had for years doesn't exist anymore. because programs like Indiana or SMU who are willing to spend, Texas Tech, are competitive now. And the same is true in college baseball. You can buy your way to relevance. LSU's 8 national championships, the box, the ability to develop the Marucci complex right there behind the right field fence, dreams of playing in the College World Series, Jell-O shot championships, Warren Morris's home run. None of that mattered to Brody Trosclair. He went to the highest bidder. By the way, that's not a knock on him. Good. Go get you. Go get a kid. I'm mad at you at all. And that's the truth for a lot of players. And as long as that's the reality, you're going to miss on prospects you want. None of those things I just mentioned will trump money for many players in this era. And LSU just keeps getting outbid. Now, look, last year in the portal cycle, we've continuously heard this whole narrative like LSU was behind the 8 ball because they were playing through Omaha at the end of June and they got behind on the portal, and that's why they missed on some of these evaluations. I want to remind you that LSU wanted Valinkas. He ended up at Mississippi State. LSU wanted Volchko. He ended up at Georgia. They got outbid. It's not like you can't recognize what an elite arm looks like because you're playing in Omaha. They got outbid for those guys. They wanted Ace Reese. Mississippi State gave him $750,000 in a condo on a golf course. Guess what? He stayed in Starkville. Smart kid. And there's going to be more bad news because they want Bino Waters, a kid out of Notre Dame who everybody has the best player in the portal. He's an outfielder. I was told last night he's going to Texas. So, I don't know if that's released yet. It'll be released at some point. It's the reality. Verge Osbury sat here. We talk in the chair right there where Kane is sitting. Paul, can you go wide so we can see Kane? Where Kane of Raising Cane's, the stuffed one, is sitting right there. Verge sat in that chair, a little bit closer to me, however, and said you got to decide what you're going to be good at. You cannot afford to be great in everything. There are only so many financial resources. And this is, as we've talked about, the complex issue that is not unique, but is a rare issue at a place like LSU, where, of course, you're going to be good in football because you have to be. And men's basketball is your other revenue generator, so you're going to invest. But you've got Kim Mulkey in coaching your women's basketball program. And you've got Jay Johnson coaching a baseball program that expects to be in Omaha and compete for championships every single year. And the question is, are there enough financial resources to be able to do that? To be great in all of those things when you have to go buy your roster? And you're seeing the answer with players like Brody Trosclair, a kid from Thibodaux who just spent a season at Northwestern State and now is going to play at Tennessee because they were the highest bidder. So, listen, all is not lost. The Tigers have 2 commitments in the portal already, and they're 2 elite-level players. I just mentioned the On3 rankings. On3 ranks Landon Hood, the righty from Gonzaga, as the number 3 overall prospect in the portal. He's coming to LSU. Again, all's not lost. And you have a really talented roster, guys that maybe didn't perform up to expectation, but that are coming back for you hope you retain them. They're coming back for the 2027 season. I'm not telling you all's lost. But this is part of the new reality. Guys like Brody Trosclair, who in a different era, 100 times out of 100, are coming to LSU. Now we're going to play at Tennessee because they wrote a bigger check. So we'll see what resources Jay Johnson and the staff have available to them, what other targets there may be in the portal that they go after as they fill out the 2027 roster. And, of course, there's a giant question about retention. Can you get Stephen Milam to return for a senior year? Depends where he goes in the draft, naturally. Can you retain all this great freshman class who seems like they're staying put, right? What about the incoming freshmen? How damaged are you by the draft? How many elite-level players show up on campus? We'll start to know all that as we move through the summer, and, of course, when that August 1st deadline hits for guys to make their decisions if they're going to sign their NFL or MLB draft contracts. or if they're going to play college ball, we'll know come August 1 what that looks like. But this is one that stings because Brody Trosclair is one you wanted. He's going to Tennessee. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. Our show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. The official beer, your Fighting Tigers of LSU. If you're at the box out at Tiger Park, Tiger Stadium, the PMAC. If you're watching the Tigers play, make sure you have plenty of delicious ice-cold Bud Light. While we're not going to see the Tigers play again until they run out on the field against Clemson on September the 5th, the summer's here. And so maybe it's hanging out by the pool. Maybe it's when you're bringing that ice chest out to the beach and the golf this summer. Make sure you drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU, and the official beer of the New Orleans Saints. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We're not got a quick break, y'all. Shea Dixon's going to join us from On 3, the Bengal Tiger. We talk recruiting with Shea every Tuesday here on the show. And, man, with 4 commits in a 24-hour period, 7 official visitors this past weekend, Ahmad Hudson taking a visit to Nebraska that has people freaking out. There is so much to chop up with Shea. We're going to do it next on AFR.
AFR.
Summer is here. We are spending time in our outdoor spaces. And if you want to enjoy your outdoor space and beautify that area, let Clegg's Nursery help. And also, if you want to keep the pests away, Clegg's can help there as well. You need anthill killer. You need to get some wasp spray, snake away, or you want to get rid of mosquitoes. Clegg's can help you. I tell you all the time about the Aeon mosquito barrier. Easy, comes in a box, 2 tubes about the size of a track baton, little granules in it. Fill it up with water to the fill line, put the cap on, shake it up, hang it on your property line. You're done with mosquitoes for 90 days at a time. It costs about $30. They got it at Clegg's Nursery. It's the Aeon mosquito barrier. Go ask for it by name when you get by any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. Seaganer Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Rolling along, Tuesday AFR, powered by Sunshine. Always appreciate our friends at your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana, sunnyquip.com. Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger, part of the Rivals Network over there on the recruiting side, joins us on Tuesdays. My goodness, we have a lot of ground to cover. Shady, how are you, man? Yo, Shea. Cool. See if we can get him on the phone, whatever we got to do. See if we can connect there. I want to talk to Shea about the 4 commits that LSU got in a 24-hour period. Obviously, when Shea and I spoke last week at this time, Jaden Bryant had just reaffirmed his commitment to LSU only hours later to flip to Miami. And then a few days after that, obviously, KJ Green now committed to LSU. And after this period of 4 commitments, LSU actually has another prediction in for a 4-star running back commit. So we're going to get to all that with Shea. We good to go? Okay. So is the phone no good? Or
Yeah, he couldn't hear me on the phone. I'm having him call us.
Okay. All right. So we're going to get Shea. No good on the computer?
Doesn't look like he couldn't hear us there either.
Okay. All right. Yay, technology. So we normally do a video call, but just take the audio with Shea. That's when you hear him more clearly when we do that. But if that doesn't behave for whatever reason, we get Shea on the phone. So we'll wait for Shea to call us here. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. The other thing, of course, I'll ask Shea about is Ahmad Hudson. The highest ranked prospect in LSU's class, the tight end out of Ruston, who took an official visit to Nebraska this weekend. A lot of people are melting over that. So we'll get Shea's take if there's anything really to be concerned about there with Ahmad Hudson. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing. Give me a quick second to knock this out, and we'll get to Shea. Okay, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Very quickly, I want to remind you, the Louisiana Department of Insurance has their portal open right now as they are opened up a new round of grants. 3,000 Louisiana homeowners are going to be awarded a grant up to $10,000 to install a fortified roof at your home. If you want more information, go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Look at the homepage. There's a blue bar right there at the top. It says, click here to apply for the LDI Fortified Roofing Grant. You get all the info you want right there. So go to parishbuilt.com. Hit the link at the top. It'll take you directly to the LDI website if you want to learn more. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. Okay, now we have Shay. Shady, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, Matt. How are you?
I'm awesome. Okay, we got a ton to do, so let's blow and go here. When you and I were speaking last week, on Wednesday, Jaden Bryant was still in LSU's class. Hours later, he flips to Miami, and within 4 days, LSU's got KJ Green. I look at that and go, Bryant saw the writing on the wall that this was inevitable. Make this make sense how this all came together.
Relative to just Bryant, and we won't even get into the next one, that was one of the wilder days I've seen. I mean, he canceled, and this is all in one day, and all coming from Jaden Bryant, right? Like, not reports, not sources, him on social media. Cancels his Texas A&M official visit, replaces it with South Carolina, the home state team, and he had moved that up in place of the Texas A&M one. It was going to be a week later, and then LSU the following week. Then everybody, maybe was in his mentions, hey, you're coming off a Miami visit. Now South Carolina, what's up with LSU? And he tweets out something to the effect of, it's always LSU, go Tigers. 3 hours later, Hayes Fawcett puts out the tweet that he's flipped to Miami, which means this had been in the works all day.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? So for Sterling Lucas, look, remember, this is LSU's edge rushers coach, DN's coach. He was at South Carolina. This is obviously Jaden Bryant is a South Carolina kid. He committed sight unseen. It was like a couple days after Sterling Lucas got hired, and it wasn't like he flipped from South Carolina. He was uncommitted at the time, but was close with him. So committed back in January, eventually made some visits, but that Miami visit obviously was enough to get him flipped, despite an incredibly odd day on social media for us. I think, and maybe in the world of 17-year-olds, that's probably pretty garden variety stuff.
Right. Okay, so then with that flip, how did it come to pass that KJ Green ends up in the class?
Yeah, so after the world got done melting when LSU fans lost a 5-star edge rusher, Sterling Lucas, that was Wednesday. Thursday night, KJ Green, another top 10 edge rusher, gets into town on Friday. So that's 24 hours later. Friday morning, starts his OV, official visit. He's got his parents with him, all that. And buzz had been brewing going into it that, hey, look, LSU's got a real shot. Then the Bryant stuff happened, and it was like, you will be the guy in the class right now, edge rusher. And confidence rose, and by Sunday, it was over. I mean, before he left campus, he committed. So, and I'm looking at the Rivals rankings, and they are far from being complete. But Jaden Bryant, number 4 overall, edge rusher, number 29 player. KJ Green, number 8 overall, number 48 player. So both top 50 prospects, both top 10 edge rushers, and really you replace one with another. And a bit different players, both about 6'3" range, but Bryant's about 260. KJ Green is probably in that 215 range right now. So a guy who is already on track. I mean, he's got over 200 career tackles at Stone Mountain at Stevenson over in Stone Mountain. So big senior year for him. Definitely a pass rush guy. And kudos to Sterling Lucas. I mean, that was a quick turnaround to add if you want to go off rankings, a very similarly ranked player right after another one flips.
Shea, I know we talked last week also about Abraham Cisse, the 5-star to Pennsylvania, who took an official 2 weekends ago. Is LSU still in the mix there, or is KJ Green going to be it as far as elite edge rushers in this class?
You put out a lead, and we'll just stick with the highly ranked guys because there are on other edge rushers. But right now, from talking to just a number of different people, this weekend will be big. He visits Notre Dame. He's from Pennsylvania. They've always been kind of the team that everyone thought would be the program everyone had to beat out. They have a lot of fanfare around them right now, right? Like, aren't they one of the best odds to win the national championship? So, like, Marcus Freeman has that program rolling. They recruit well, and they have been prioritizing Cisse for a while. Duke and Florida State are his other finalists beyond LSU. I'm not predicting him to go to either of those schools. So let's see what happens this weekend. I talked to Steve Wiltfong, Rivals national expert, about it, and he said Notre Dame's led the whole way, but LSU really surged. Let's see what happens this weekend. If he leaves South Bend without committing, then all of a sudden LSU's got a shot here to maybe convince him, hey, before a decision date, to go with the Tigers. But if he commits while on campus, it's probably over with.
Okay. All right, Shea, let's talk a little bit about the running backs. So Brennan Lacey out of Texas commits, but then we also have seen these other dominoes fall, right? Jaden Miles from Baton Rouge ends up committing to Florida State. And there's another running back, Trey Segura, who looks like he might be trending toward LSU. So let's maybe take those one at a time and make sense of this running back recruitment right now.
Yeah, and we'll eventually get to another Trey who visits this weekend. It's a Louisiana kid. But yeah, you pop Brennan Lacey. There's a few surprises, right? A couple this weekend. This was one of them. TCU had just hosted him on official visit. He's a Frisco kid. They thought it was done deal. Hey, I'm just going to go make a couple visits. And then boom, Sunday, he doesn't even leave campus before committing. So kudos to Kevin Smith here. He's one of those guys entering the summer. I think he's ranked as a 3-star, number 79 running back in the country, but his offers include LSU, Notre Dame, Miami, Texas Tech, Florida. As I mentioned, TCU thought they had him in the bag. Notre Dame, I could go on and on. So obviously his offer list a bit more impressive than his current ranking. I would guess that changes over time, but he's one where, as we talk about all these guys, 6'1", 187, and his playing style is a bit different than someone like Trey Segura, who also visited this past weekend, or a guy like we'll talk about in a second, Trey Martin, who's still in Louisiana as a 4-star uncommitted prospect coming out of Winsboro. And it speaks to something we've both talked about a lot. Lane Kiffin in this offense very much recruit position-wise, even more so skill positions, to exact kind of role of each guy. Like, if you're X, Y, Z, slot, whatever it might be, running back-wise, it's, yeah, you love a 3-down back, but they're really getting these guys who all do a little bit of different things. So Lacey's on board, and again, that was a surprise. TCU thought they had that one done, and here comes LSU out of nowhere.
So Lacey's on board, and you mentioned, so it's Segura is how you say it?
It is Segura, yes.
Okay, I'm not familiar, so fill us in there.
So a guy we haven't been talking a ton about over, as we talked about running backs, but playing over at Duncan in South Carolina, at Burns in South Carolina, which is in Duncan. He's the number 7 running back in the country on Rivals, on the Rivals industry rankings, as high as number 5 at 24/7. So this is a very highly regarded back. He's 5'10". He's already north of 210 as a junior in high school. And Kevin Smith, LSU's running backs coach, had been on him, but they didn't know if it was going to ultimately yield to a commitment. And he canceled a Penn State visit this past weekend, and his dad told us instead, hey, look, I'm coming. We're going to come down there and visit LSU. And look, Burns is a great school. Marcus Lattimore went to Burns back in the day. I mean, he probably holds every record they ever have, unless Segura's starting to break them. But like a top 10 running back that we weren't even talking very much about. But Kevin Smith had sort of worked quietly here looking for out-of-state backs, and they get him on campus. And this morning, Chad Simmons puts in a prediction for LSU, and Steve Wiltfong, Sam Spiegelman, guys everybody knows from the covering Rivals and recruiting, and had all dug around. I dug around, and we all came back together and said, we're all hearing LSU for a kid who's kept things quiet. Like, he's from South Carolina. He's got every offer, but he never had a Rivals RPM pick before. There wasn't a real feel for where he was leaning, and then, boom, done. Committed to LSU. Here's your fun fact, too. I went to watch his huddle film, but his most recent uploads were just like 20 soccer clips. So we've got a multi-sport athlete, but this kid's out here scoring goals. So hat tip to the World Cup coming up. A guy like this trending to LSU. And look, Matt, I won't be surprised if he shuts things down and maybe doesn't make any more visits. And all of a sudden you're at 2 running backs when just a couple of days ago you had none.
Okay, and Shea Dixon's with us on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Shea, by the way, if I need to knock it a break, can you do a second segment? We just got a lot to cover.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So wait, let's finish the running backs though first. So I want to get into Jaden Miles and Trey Martin, the Louisiana kids. I'll just leave it open. Go.
Yeah, Jaden Miles and Trey Martin both had offers from LSU's previous staff, and both were recruited by the Ole Miss staff. It's now at LSU. But we just started seeing Trey Martin around campus a lot more, and Jaden Miles was making visits elsewhere. So he pops for Florida State. I think that probably, in a small way, plays a role in them feeling comfortable with going ahead and getting some other out-of-state backs. But everyone asks, well, if you do land 2 running backs from out-of-state, what does it mean for Trey Martin? He's a top 10 running back, but he's here in Louisiana. He visits this weekend, and Matt, everything I've been told, an official visit to LSU, everything I've been told is that they had these discussions with him already. They laid out what his kind of role on the team would be, whether you want to say NIL, all of that. Every discussion's been had and will be had again this weekend on his official visit. But it's a matter of, and look, it's so tough to predict year over year what our room will look like, but they anticipate that they want 3 more guys to be in the running back room next year. Do you take 1 high school kid and 2 portal kids? Do you take 2 high school and 1 portal kid? Do you take 3 high school kids? Right now, it seems like they're trending towards wanting to at least take 3 high school prospects that they feel kind of each bring something different to the table at a position where you can play early.
Shea, wasn't Trey Martin thought to be a heavy Alabama lean? Isn't he thought to be a heavy Alabama lean?
It was early on, and I think their board also played out, kind of like LSU, right? Like they got Nigel Newkirk, who's one of the best running backs in the country. They're soon to pop another unless he just committed this week. So they had already run up on 2 running backs, and I think they sort of had to bow out of that race because at that point, for them, I think the target goal was 2 running backs, and they had 2 guys that were ready to say, I'm going to go ahead and commit now, and Trey Martin kind of wasn't in that headspace yet.
Okay, quick break. We're brought to you by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We'll come back. Got a bunch more to talk about what Shea will do next on AFR.
AFR.
Gents, if you want to feel your best, our friends over at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness can help. Remember, lowest prices, never any contracts. I really want to stress that. There's a lot of clinics that offer HRT. You hear a lot of them advertised here. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that do really well. What I will tell you about Goodwood is they offer the lowest prices and never any contracts. So if you are paying a membership fee at your HRT clinic, major red flag, leave immediately. If every 6 months when you do your blood labs, you're paying for those blood labs, remember at Goodwood, they pick up the cost of your blood labs. They do not pass that on to you. And the cost of your therapy is going to be the lowest prices that you get anywhere. So lowest prices, never any contracts, no membership fees. They pick up your labs. Like if you're on HRT and you're not at Goodwood, what are you doing? Get over there. Schedule a consultation. It's yourgoodwood.com. Check them out. yourgoodwood.com. Proform Steel. Proformla.com. Proformla.com. Listen, if you need a metal building, it doesn't matter if it's an industrial building or a shed for your backyard. You want the best. You want Proform Steel. You know Brandon Golson. You know the name if you're in that industry. He's been around forever, and he's the best. This is the new endeavor. Proformla.com is the website. Super easy, and one of the best features is you can go to the website right now, hit the Request a Quote tab right there on the homepage, and just like that, boom, you can get upfront pricing on the homepage right now at proformla.com. Doesn't matter if you need an industrial building, if you're building a shed in your backyard. If you buy a building from them, they will deliver it for free. And their lead times, by the way, on residential is like 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah. Why would you do business with anyone else? Proformla.com. Proformla.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Plowing these fields in the hot summer sun.
All right, we got Shea Dixon with us on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Good enough to hang around, do a second segment. Okay, Shea, the collective LSU internet world melted this weekend with Ahmad Hudson at Nebraska. Fill us in. Anything to worry about there?
I mean, we just saw what happened with Jaden Bryant, which was kind of a crazy day. So I'm not ruling anything out ever right now. I will say, Matt, that this is an in-state kid. He's a legacy whose father played basketball, under John Brady. And he's committed to LSU. He committed for a reason early before visits because he felt comfortable with everything. And the words of Ed Orgeron, right? He's back now. The champion of a recruitment, right, is the person who's beyond the prospect, the chief decision maker. And that's Mama in this one. And she's been on board with LSU. LSU's offered his younger brother, who is, coming up through ninth grade at Ruston. So they've been all in on Ahmad forever. Nebraska had to, though, and I'll sum it all up with this. Look, Hudson is committed to LSU in football, but will also be able to be given a chance to play basketball, right, with Will Wade. He is currently the number one prospect in the state in both football and basketball. So number one tight end in the country, but number one player in basketball in the state of Louisiana, 5 stars. So makes sense that he would give it a shot. Nebraska is going all in on it. I mean, we're talking pitches about your start type stuff. And I think that because of that, Ahmad has taken him, kept Nebraska around a lot longer than many anticipated. And then he made the visit. And I think in large part, Matt, they said, hey, look, we've put in years here recruiting you. We're having a big recruiting weekend. We know you're committed. We respect the decision, but just come give it a shot. And him and his mom went over there and visited and went through it all. And for me, the most telling thing was he left and he didn't commit. He said all the right things, very kind about Nebraska. He likes Nebraska because of the opportunity to play both. But at the same time, he's back home in Ruston. The dust settles on it. And not this weekend, but the following weekend, which is the final weekend of visits, Matt, until it's a recruiting dead period. Ahmad Hudson's on campus for his official visit in what will be the biggest official visit weekend of the month. So I like where LSU stands. I'm sure the staff didn't love that he goes and takes a Nebraska visit, given that was the only other team left standing when he committed. But that's recruiting right now, and they've just got to double down and stay on top of it. And Ahmad has said that LSU's done just that.
All right, Jay, there's 2 other prospects that LSU got committed on Monday. Marquez Davis, corner you and I have talked about. And then one I don't think that we had talked about, and one we didn't expect, that's Cade Cooper, who was on the show a day ago here, who kind of walked us through his whole recruitment, which was a wild last month for him, no doubt. But
yes,
thoughts here on Davis and Cooper?
God. Well, we'd have to go another segment on Davis. I'm his big, outside of Corey Raymond, I'm his biggest fan. And I'm his biggest fan because I love these Corey Raymond recruits. This was a kid who I think God built his profile for him whenever Corey started going out and looking at him. After you dig in, I'm like, what offers does he have? He's got more basketball offers than he even does football offers. He's already 1,000+ point scorer, and he's playing at Northwest. Where's Northwest? It's in Opelousas. I don't even know if Northwest has put out a player. And here comes Marquez Davis. Profile gets built. I tell them to go in and rank him. Gets ranked at receiver because that's where most of his huddle highlights are. And no, Corey wants him at cornerback. So not basketball, not receiver, wants him to play corner. And we're talking about a kid who is, you could say raw, but he already plays both ways. So he has cornerback under his belt. Like, remember Ray Darius Jones was someone they wanted to convert to corner, and he was uber athletic, but he was playing quarterback in high school over in Mississippi and on winning state titles, but they were just putting their best athlete at quarterback. They've let Marquez play receiver and corner. But 6'3", 180, 1,000+ point scorer in basketball, on the best AAU team, arguably, in the state, and is committed to Corey Raymond to play football with other offer. I think he had just come off a Houston trip, was going to go out to Texas Tech, and I wasn't on the phone when Corey Raymond and Marquez had a conversation this week, but Marquez led me to believe that the phone conversation went something like, do you want to be the first corner in? Let's get it done. And a couple hours later, he's publicly committed. So it was always going to be LSU. It was just a matter of when it happened, and now he's in the class. They have themselves a corner.
And Cade Cooper.
Kate Cooper, like I said, he was on your show yesterday. We have him as a top 25 receiver in the country. So coming out of Pennsylvania, and we're getting used to this, right? Like LSU's first commit came from Florida at receiver when the state had a bunch of receivers. Now they take the Pennsylvania kid, but this is a guy who, good size. I mean, he is legit 6'2" already, 190, and really has been a guy who a lot of teams were on, Matt, but it came down to Ole Miss was really the team to beat. And he had said after the fact, look, LSU didn't even come in until May, offered him. George McDonald goes and sees him on the road in mid-May, and now they get him in on the visit with his family, and everyone says, we're on board, we're popping. And his quote, I mean, he was on your show, but his quote to us was, this is Chad Simmons, I'll give him credit here. Coming into the visit, I was honestly slated to go to Ole Miss. That's who I was committing to. My father encouraged me to take the LSU visit because I only get one chance, and he was right. I said he loved Baton Rouge, the people, the food, everything. It was just a great vibe, getting campus, taking it in. It made a big impression on me. LSU is what I thought it would be, but actually better. And after visiting both places, I knew that it was the place for me. And look, he said, again, here's another quote. I think it was a little more security at LSU if I can actually work and play for the offense that did it instead of the offense that's trying to imitate it. The overall stability there is what made the difference. That was Cooper talking to Chad Simmons at Rivals about how LSU passed up Ole Miss. So pretty much straightforwardly saying I was going to go to Ole Miss because of the offense, and now that I'm thinking about it, that offense is in Baton Rouge.
I'm certain there's some folks in northern Mississippi who are not going to love that quote, but it's honestly my biggest question mark about the Ole Miss program without Lane Kiffin. But, okay, Shea, last thing, two other prospects I know that we're kind of on flip watch here, an offensive lineman and a defensive back. We're talking about Kelsey Adams, the offensive lineman, and then Greedy James, the defensive back committed to Georgia and Texas, respectively. What are we expecting to happen here?
Yeah, I can be quick with these. Kelsey Adams still committed to Georgia right now, but the expectation is that probably doesn't last till signing day. He's going to go to Mississippi State this weekend. He had talked about another trip the following weekend. A lot of SEC schools are on him, so I think by the end of the month we'll know something there, but a lot of people feel that at this exact moment, LSU is the team to beat, and they don't have no linemen committed, so that's notable, right? Not at least today they don't. The other one's Greedy James, a Texas kid playing at Manville. He's committed to the Longhorns as a safety. Corey wants him at corner. He came in with his family and his uncle, and his dad and his uncle are not just from New Orleans. They're St. Aug grads. So he told us, like, look, being around them, getting a feel for LSU, it kind of changed my perspective on things. So as we watch Corey Raymond build out this corner board, with more visitors to come, keep Greedy James on the list. I think that just those New Orleans ties coupled with being prioritized by LSU and Texas is notable. And again, Texas wants him at safety, LSU at corner. Let's see if that isn't a deciding factor.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Of course, Rivals on the recruiting side. He's at Shea Dixon. Good enough to hang with us here on Tuesdays. Man, we always appreciate it. Thank you.
Time flew right by. Later on, Matt.
See you, man. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit, firstsouthfarmcredit.com, firstsouthfarmcredit.com. You know, this is the time of year where they really get busy with folks who are thinking of buying their own hunting property, right? You're coming off of hunting season. You're determined not to share a lease ever again with anybody. You don't want to hunt on someone else's property. You want to pass on the big buck because you don't want to take down the big buck on someone else's property. You want your own. Well, this is the time to get that process started. So you can start at the website, firstsouthfarmcredit.com, firstsouthfarmcredit.com. Remember, if you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit, firstsouthfarmcredit.com, firstsouthfarmcredit.com. Your hunting property, your recreational property, maybe you want the 20 acres, the 50 acres in St. Francisville, the 100 acres on the North Shore to go build your family's dream home. First South Farm Credit can make it happen. firstsouthfarmcredit.com, firstsouthfarmcredit.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Hour number 1 flying by courtesy of Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We bumped around the SEC there, so we'll catch you up on that when we come back here to wrap up hour number 1. And all of the reaction to the Brendan Sorsby situation. We'll dive into that coming up in 15 minutes to start hour number 2. We got a ton to do on a jam-packed show. Stay with us. It's AFR.
After further review.
Had a message from a listener who said, wife and I are having an anniversary. We're going to go to Trinidad and Tobago, and then we're going to spend a little time in Baton Rouge. After that, need a place to stay and eat. Well, they said they're going to go eat at Supper Club, but where should we stay? I said, well, go stay at Renaissance. Renaissance is literally a mile, maybe, from Supper Club. Renaissance is so convenient, right? So if maybe you're planning a little staycation, or you're coming in town, starting to think ahead for your football weekends in Baton Rouge, book your room at Renaissance right there on Bluebonnet, or, of course, Watermark downtown. Both are amazing spots, but get those reservations now for your football weekends or for a staycation this summer. Remember, Renaissance Baton Rouge, sprawling, gorgeous hotel, tons of amenities, spacious guest rooms. They got the pool and the workout facility, Tallulah, the great dining experience right there in the lobby, the terrace with the indoor-outdoor flow if you want a cocktail or a glass of wine. Check it out right there on Bluebonnet. It's Renaissance Baton Rouge.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
We had to come out with the right approach and the right energy. There were some things in the second quarter that we weren't sharp enough on, and halftime's a time to really catch your breath and discuss some things that you need to improve upon or what you're seeing out there that hopefully can help each other in the second half, and that's what we did. And I thought we came out in the third quarter with the right approach. We got some stops and had some good execution.
Spurs head coach Mitch Johnson. The Knicks led by 7 at the break. Spurs outscored the Knicks 35-27 in the third quarter, and they'd hold on for a 115-111 win. So now the series is 2-1 in favor of the Knicks. Game 4 will be Wednesday night at Madison Square Garden. They waited 27 years for an NBA Finals game there at MSG. What a scene it was with Celebrity Row. Of course, the president was there on Monday night as well, but the Knicks came up short. So series at 2-1, and see if the Knicks bounce back or if the Spurs can even the series. Mike Brown, after the game, was asked how the team will respond after their first loss. Remember, they had not lost yet in the play. They were 13-0 in these playoffs until losing Game 3.
I told our guys it's a 7-game series for a reason. You know, they're a great team. They're well coached. They got an iconic player. You know, it's not going to be easy, and we have to keep trying to take one game, one possession at a time. But there are some things that we can control that I didn't think that we controlled tonight. You know, and then like I said.
That's enough. I don't need any more of it. I can't get what in the world happened to Mike Brown, like in the middle of that answer. What in the world? Like what in the world was? I mean, he talked about their iconic player. Wemby had 32, 8, and 6. Great night for Wemby. It caused Mike Brown to do this.
They got an iconic player. You know.
What was that?
What
was he trying? I don't even know what he was trying to say. Was he trying to say who? They got an iconic player.
Hold on.
Was he trying to say who?
Let me see if I can figure it out with what his next word was. Maybe he just really tripped over it.
Oh, man. We'll play it.
They got an iconic player, you know. It's not going to be easy.
No, never mind. He went to it. Nope. Mm-mm.
I think he was going to say they have an iconic player. I think he was trying to say who, and he just completely familyed it right there. Oh.
They got an iconic player, you know.
Maybe a ghost scared him. The hell was that?
Big Scooby-Doo vibes right there, actually. That's great.
Yoinks!
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
Maybe he looked up and saw the reflection of a ghost in a window from Relief Windows. How about that? Take it. Transition. # radio guy. ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades. Oh, yeah. It's Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. And remember, they will never, ever, 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 ever take $1 from you. I'm so glad we played that Mike Brown cut. They will never take $1 from you until they're done and you're thrilled. They will never take a down payment. It's Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the South Carolina Gamecocks.
South Carolina is hiring Coastal Carolina coach Kevin Schnall as the next head coach.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
We already told you this, but Brody Trosclair from Northwestern State, he's committed to Tennessee. That sucks.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
4-star wide receiver Jabari Watkins, 6'2", 180. He picked the Hogs. He's the highest commit in the Hogs class.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn got 4-star defensive back Chance Gilbert. He's the number 8 cornerback in America, the number 55 overall prospect in the country. He's the 16th commit in Auburn's class.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
And Jeff Levy landed a cornerback in Jalind Kello, not to be confused with hello, but kind of like that, just with a K, so as to say Kello. He's a top 100 cornerback prospect. That's a really polite way of saying he's not a very highly ranked cornerback prospect. There you have it. That is Around the SEC. Tuesday show is powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. SunnyQuip.com, SunnyQuip.com. Bunky and below, you want a Deere, you're going to Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. And if you don't go to Sunshine, I'm going to send Mike Brown to your house to scare you. What was that?
After further review.
Oh, man. I got to tell you about Arco, but I just want to play the Mike Brown clip. Every time I say Arco, play the Mike Brown clip. Arco. You know, if you need an industrial Generac generator, call Arco Power Systems. Go to arco.com. 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 They're going to be so mad at me for this. Maybe they'll think it's hilarious. Hey, listen. Arco's awesome. North to Little Rock, east to Mobile, west to San Antonio, all over Louisiana, Houston, Dallas, Austin. They got offices everywhere. If you're a business, power goes out, what do? Arco can help. ARCCO.com. ARCCO.com. Arco.com.